Picture this. You're looking at a dramatic aerial shot of a super congested highway. Industrial smokestacks are just pumping out exhaust, and there's this massive urban skyline heavily shrouded in a thick gray haze. Okay, now mentally contrast that with a pristine, untouched natural landscape where the air is perfectly crisp and clear. The difference between those two environments isn't just aesthetic, right? It's a matter of microscopic science. In today's Explainer, we're going to explore exactly how environmental scientists capture and measure the invisible pollutants floating in the air we breathe, bringing a hidden microscopic world right out into the open. So here's a pretty wild thought to kick things off. How do you weigh something you can't even see? It's a profound mystery, but that is the exact problem atmospheric researchers and environmental scientists face every single day. They're tasked with tracking dangerous air pollution that is entirely invisible to the naked eye. Literally, to protect public health, they have to somehow quantify a threat that behaves almost like a ghost. We're zeroing in on PM₂.₅ today. And to really grasp the threat here, you have to understand just how incredibly microscopic we're talking about. These are tiny particles, stuff like soot, smoke, or industrial aerosols, with an aerodynamic diameter below 2.5 micrometers. If we could zoom into this microscopic world, we'd see these particles easily bypassing the natural filtration systems of our noses and throats. Because they're so ridiculously small, they travel deep into our lungs and can even cross directly into our bloodstream, causing some really severe respiratory and cardiovascular issues. Here is our quick roadmap for today. 1. The invisible threat. 2. Method 1. Catch and weigh. 3. The meticulous laboratory. 4. Method 2. Catching light. And 5. The future of clean air. Okay, Section 1. The invisible threat. The stakes here are absolutely massive. This PM₂.₅ pollution is largely derived from anthropogenic, or human-made activities. We're talking industrial processes, automobile emissions, burning household fuels, the whole shebang. And it doesn't just physically alter our environment by contributing to haze, acid rain, and climate change. It is incredibly toxic to our bodies. The scientific literature points directly to cardiovascular and respiratory diseases. Plus, recent studies from our sources found suggestive evidence linking higher long-term exposure to PM₂.₅ with increased COVID-19 infection and mortality rates. So yeah, this isn't just about a hazy skyline. It's a major public health crisis. Moving on to Section 2, Method 1, Catch and Weigh. This gold standard process is known as the Gravimetric method. It's heavily regulated by bodies like the EPA in the US and ICULA, which is the network of air quality reference laboratories over in Europe. Because governments use this data to set national environmental policies and actually enforce laws, these laboratories must ensure strict, totally unquestionable standardization. So, how exactly do you catch a ghost? Well, you use a high-volume or high-vol sampler. Picture a piece of advanced machinery sitting outdoors near a busy intersection. It essentially acts like a giant, highly calibrated vacuum cleaner, continuously drawing in ambient air at an impressive 30 cubic meters per hour. The air is forced through a quartz or glass fiber filter. Now, the EPA documentation beautifully describes this filter as having tortuous pores. It's basically a complex, microscopic labyrinth of fibers where the dust, soot, and smoke physically smash into the material and become permanently trapped. Which brings us to Section 3, the meticulous laboratory. Building a watertight scientific case requires absolutely pristine conditions. Before a filter even sees the outdoors, a researcher in full protective gear handles it with sterilized forceps. The clean filter paper is placed into a climate-controlled chamber, desiccated and conditioned for 48 to 72 hours at a perfectly struct temperature and humidity. Only then is it weighed. After it comes back from the field, completely loaded with pollution, it goes through that exact same 72-hour conditioning process again before being reweighed. Subtract the first weight from the second, and boom, you have your mass of PM₂.₅. To truly appreciate what's happening here, you've got to grasp the sheer precision involved. We're definitely not using your average kitchen scale. The NPL report details the use of microbalances that have a jaw-dropping resolution of 0.1 micrograms. To put that into perspective for a second, that is an incredibly tiny fraction of a single grain of sand. We are quite literally weighing something that's practically weightless. So, why is that 72-hour conditioning process so absolutely mandatory? Well, because these microbalances are so ridiculously sensitive, the NPL study found that just a slight variation in the room's temperature, relative humidity, or even an invisible static electric charge on the filter could easily skew the measurement by 10 to 20%.
Without those extreme environmental controls, the microscopic moisture absorbed from the air by the filter paper could actually weigh more than the deadly pollution you're trying to track. Crazy, right?
All right, Section 4. Method 2. Catching light. Instead of physical mass, modern optical sensors use light. Specifically, they rely on a phenomenon called scattering. When a microscopic particle, say a tiny speck of diesel exhaust, passes through a beam of light that has a similar wavelength to the particle's size, the light scatters in very predictable ways. By capturing that scattered light, the sensor can essentially deduce both the size and the count of the particles flying through the air.
Inside these tiny, low-cost sensors, it's essentially a microscopic laser light show. A little microfan pulls ambient air into a dark chamber, creating a virtual sensing zone. Inside, a focused laser diode fires a beam, illuminating individual PM₂.₅ particles as they fly past. Specialized photodetectors instantly capture the glowing flashes of scattered light. Then, complex algorithms rapidly calculate the intensity of those flashes to estimate the total mass of the pollution in real time. It's like microscopic radar for dust.
Different engineering teams actually tackle this exact same physical problem in some really fascinating ways. Various manufacturers, like AlphaSense, Honeywell, Plant Tower, and TSI, use different laser wavelengths, typically right around 650 to 780 nanometers, grouping particles into different size bands. But despite their proprietary algorithms, they all achieve something remarkable, giving us instantaneous, continuous, second-by-second tracking of the air quality all around us. So when we put these methodologies side by side, we see a really fascinating scientific trade-off. On one hand, gravimetric monitors offer undeniable, highly regulated physical accuracy, but they're incredibly expensive, sparse, and you won't get your data for days. On the other hand, optical particle counters don't actually weigh the dust. They estimate it by looking at light, but they are low cost, provide immediate real-time data, and are small enough to be worn on your backpack or just placed on your kitchen counter. Finally, Section 5. The future of clean air. The reality of urban air pollution is that it has high spatio-temporal inhomogeneity. Now, that's just a very fancy scientific way of saying pollution can vary wildly from 1 hour to the next, and from a busy intersection to a quiet park just 1 block away. Because massive government gravimetric stations are so expensive, they're spread out sparsely, leaving huge blind spots in the data. Low-cost optical sensors perfectly fill those gaps, enabling what scientists call participatory sensing. Everyday citizens can now carry these devices, creating a dense, living map of our microenvironments. The scientific community recognizes this as a total paradigm shift. We're moving from a world where air quality was exclusively the domain of isolated, highly climate-controlled laboratories to a dynamic, community-driven model. These real-time sensing networks are literally empowering individuals to actively monitor and protect their own personal health. Which leaves us with a pretty provocative thought to end on today. We've seen exactly how scientists catch the invisible outdoors. But if a simple, low-cost wearable sensor can now map the invisible threats on your daily commute, what hidden air quality stories exist right now, completely undetected, inside your very own home? It definitely makes you want to take a much closer look at the very air you're breathing right this second.